Hey guys, it's Danny. Let's make an update on the Hoyas because they're looking spectacular if I do say so myself. I think I have the prettiest Hoyas ever. Not really, but because they're mine, I think they're pretty. In all honesty though, they are prettier than I expected, and I'll give you close-ups with each and every one of them. They're all starting to grow. One of them I almost lost, but I'm saving. You're gonna see it's part of a different project. And I do also want to repot one of them. It's the multiflora because yeah, she's outgrowing her pot, drinking quite a lot of water, and yeah, I don't really like these self-watering pots. Anyway, I will give you an update on the hydrogen peroxide experiment as well. So that said, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it, subscribe because it's free and I post multiple times a week. And if you're feeling extra, consider supporting my channel through becoming a member, using my affiliate links in the description, getting some merch. Yes, we will have some new merch at some point, hopefully soon, or by using the super thanks option below my videos. Right, with that intro out of the way, let's get to work. Let me just update you on the self-watering pots and the hydrogen peroxide experiment, and then we're just gonna take a look at not the orchids, the Hoyas. I might call them orchids at some point. What to do? I can't shake it off sometimes. Alrighty, so a while back I decided to try out a little method against algae that I do see some people, even on YouTube, using, in which combining hydrogen peroxide with water would keep transparent pots, particularly the self-watering pots, the container themselves, free of algae. And in that video, I actually used quite a bigger quantity than recommended. Usually in hydroponics, you would use hydrogen peroxide to maintain the basins clean, but since I have no idea how hydroponics actually work because I don't have a system, and semi-hydroponics is not one of those systems, I wasn't entirely sure how this experiment would go and if it would work. And well, I'm here to tell you that it failed. So yeah, one of the pots is empty. Don't worry, I saved the orchid. But this is one of the pots that has the eggs that we used hydrogen peroxide water with when watering these two. These two are the ones that we used plain water. And well, they all kind of got the same amount of algae. Now you might see some have a little bit more just because I kept more water in there. This one has been dry for a while, so all the algae died. The only difference in between all of these pots is that some of them sat on the lowest shelf of the Mills bowl, which is a white bottom. So those ones had the most algae because of the excess light, because the actual bottom of the shelf was reflecting light upwards, and the algae really liked it. Other than that, to be fully honest, I didn't see much of a difference. They all kind of got the same amount of algae. Not only that, on the surface as well, I had a lot of algae or cyano, one of the two, whatever it is. The wetter I kept the pots, the worse it got. So no, even with kind of over adding hydrogen peroxide, I didn't get much results. I wouldn't try it again. I would just stick to the usual, meaning shading the surfaces which are wet or the reservoirs or things of the sorts, because without light, algae cannot live. They photosynthesize just like plants. They need to make their own food, and without light, it is not possible. So yeah, I will eventually repot all of these Hoyas and pretty much end the experiment. As for these guys, I might just paint the reservoir with some spray paint, make it opaque at least, and then use the self-watering pots because they're quite okay. They're normal self-watering pots, kind of flimsy, but I really don't enjoy the transparent reservoir. It doesn't work out all that well for my environment. One self-watering pot that I do enjoy is the Lechuza Mini Deltini. This one does not promote algae. This is just a little bit of soil that fell from the pot, but algae, no, because it's opaque. So for self-watering, I would much rather have these pots. They are 10 times more expensive most probably, but you know, if you're not gonna buy 100 of them, if you want one or two, maybe it's worth the investment. Last time I checked, it was like 15 euros or something like that, or 9. I think it was 9 on Amazon. Don't know the prices though. I haven't bought one of these in a long time. I have quite a few of them. And speaking about updating you on the actual Hoyas, here is my heuschkeliana. Not sure how to pronounce it. This one is quite popular at the moment, so I see. When I received it, I didn't know much about it. I got it as a gift in an orchid order from Orchids Deluxe. And I fell in love with it because it's the tiniest, prettiest variegated Hoya. Look at her. I can see why people love it. The thing is, some sellers really up the price on this one. So if you go on Orchids Deluxe, you'll find it for 15 euros. I got it as a gift for free, bonus plant, which doesn't happen often, so I really appreciate it. The only caveat is that Orchids Deluxe, as far as my knowledge goes, only delivers in the European Union. But with the uprise of the houseplant communities, I think I do see some nurseries starting to offer international shipping with, of course, phytosanitary certificates, which add something to the price. So I think it's always worth sending an email. If they don't deliver, at least they get the message that they might have international clients, right? So yeah, that's where this one is coming from. 15 euros is nothing. I've seen it for sale for much more than that in other territories. So I really hope you can get it if you like it. I keep it in one of my IKEA mini greenhouses. I have a video on those. And it's actually sitting on the bottom shelf of the Wish show under Barinas. And I can already see some anthocyanin starting to form in the new shoots. And yes, this variegation becomes pinky red, like many variegated Hoyas. They do get this shade in brighter light, which makes it even more interesting. So yeah, I really like this little plant. And so far so good, I find it quite easy. Just a side note before we go on, the mini greenhouse thing is not about humidity or anything of the sort, it's purely decoration. I really like it. And also keeping those plants in there a little bit more safe from pests. And also containing an infestation if it occurs. So yeah, it really doesn't help much with humidity because I didn't wither it, I didn't seal it or anything. I don't use it for that. So next up, let's stick into the variegation realm. This is my Hoya carnosa Tricolor. Look at the beauty. Again, we can see a little bit of anthocyanin starting to form, and wherever there's white variegation, it's starting to become pink. Now I have a little bit of a question. Is there any difference between this one and the Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess, which is one that we find in flower shops? Because they look very different. My Princess has very similar variegation inside the leaf, so in the middle of the leaf, and the margins are green, but it can also produce half and half leaves, and it's a lot more unstable, the variegation. Some shoots have turned green, which is absolutely fine with me. I like the way it looks. But I'm wondering if it's the same. I could not answer this question. I googled it, I researched it, but I didn't really find much of an answer. So is the Hoya carnosa Tricolor the same variety as Crimson Princess? If any of you know, let me know. My two look different. Maybe they're different, I don't know. This one is also a lot more compact. Do we see the internodes are really short, or rather the spaces in between the nodes, while the other one just puts out those runners, or actually tendrils, they're called tendrils. And the spaces between the nodes are 10-15 centimeters easy. The spaces here are about 5 centimeters. So this one does look a little bit more compact. Let me know if you think there's a difference. Also, the variegation on this one looks a little bit more stable. Not sure if it's a trait of this particular individual or generally. I've never actually had this one before. So yeah, this one is due for a repot. She deserves a little bit of a better pot. Next to her, we have another very popular one. It's the pubicalyx Splash. Now, I did have pubicalyx in the past. They grow very fast and very large, but this splashy one is rather new. Again, we have a little bit of anthocyanin peeking through and making these splashes look a little bit pink, which is very cute, but it's a big one. This one will tend to climb. So I do have a little bit of a dilemma. Do we keep these guys, or do I keep these guys hanging, or do I find trellises for them? To be fully honest, I would prefer hanging because I have more space on a vertical level than horizontal, but I don't know how they will look. I will try to keep them hanging though. I know it's not necessarily the most natural thing for them, but it's a little bit easier for me. And since this one grows so fast, I'm pretty sure it will run out of trellis pretty soon. I also had an idea to make them grow on the Wish shows upright. And that is great because they would decorate the Wish shows very nice. But then let's think about the practicality. If I have a pest infestation on this one, how can I remove it, shower it outside or treat it outside? Because I'm not gonna spray everything in the plant room because of the birds. I always spray things outside. So am I going to detach it and unfurl it from the visco shelf? Probably not. So it's not very practical to do that, right? For now, I will keep it hanging. Alrighty, next up, here we have Hoya Optimistic. Initially, I thought it was a fuzzy leaf Hoya, but it is and it isn't. On the top, can we see it's so glossy and beautiful, but on the underside of the leaves, it is a little bit fuzzy. Such a beautiful plant. Initially, I thought it's one of those that grows upright, but it actually climbs as well. And this one, I don't believe I can keep hanging, so I'm gonna have to find a way to display it nicely. And I think I have a solution. I might just make it go up a pole. I'm gonna think a little bit about it because I don't think I can keep this one hanging and make it look pretty. So yeah, the old leaves were actually stained by some hard water and the glass was completely faded. I was not expecting this one to look like this. I don't know why. Did I Google it beforehand? Maybe not. So it was a surprise for me to see how glossy and beautiful it is. She's doing well, needs a repot. This one, I thought it would not make it because for the longest time it only had these two leaves and this stem. This is the ilagiorum. Maybe I'm not reading that correctly, but recently I do see it is putting on two shoots. And again, this is one of those like the pubicalyx, which will grow pretty big. It will send the tendrils out and about everywhere. So I think I can keep this one hanging. This one has not been repotted ever since I purchased it. I just kept it like this and seeing what happens because I didn't think it would make it. But as I see it, she's okay and I will repot it at some point. Alright, now there is one that didn't actually do anything and it's actually not a Hoya, it's Dischidia. Is that it? There is a D on the tag. So the answer was right there on the tag, I just didn't pay attention because I didn't know. So this is the imbricata and yeah, can we see it did not grow much. There are some new roots though right here that are forming. This is the actual growing tip and there are some roots starting to form here. I did try to spray it, but I think it does require a sort of a terrarium or a higher humidity situation. It's still around and there are new roots, but it didn't actually grow. As far as I understand, this is more of a finicky one. If you compare it to the carnosa, obviously, I'm sure some people find it very easy, but it is different nonetheless. So I will have to come up with a different solution for it. I was considering putting it in the biorb, which I might still do because the biorb has a lot of space still in between the Fittonia plants. So I might just go ahead and do that. Why not? It does have some wood in there so she can start to climb and it's very humid in the biorb. So I'm sure she would love it. And hey, you know what? I think that's what I'm gonna do with it eventually in the end. Next one, this is my nummularioides. It looked pretty dry ever since I purchased it, and then it continued to dry until I decided to start to cut the stem and see if there is any green part in it, because if there is green, I can propagate it. Hold on. Let me show you. Remember when we did that video with the sketchy pots for the Hoyas, which I'm going to show you? One of the stems of I forget the name. You guys told me. One of the stems that broke off, I decided to put it in water. I told you can propagate it in water, but I didn't show you that you actually can. There you go. It has rooted in water. I need to pot this up. It has also started to grow some shoots. So with most of these Hoyas, I don't know if all of them, because there are many Hoyas in the world, right? So with most of these, you can actually put the stem either in a high moisture environment directly in the soil, but with moisture, or in water directly. What I did was I found a bit of a stick from the nummularioides, which still had life in it, and I put it in this Ferrero Rocher container. It's really good as an ICU. Put some moss here and kept it super damp. And lo and behold, in a few days, it started to put on roots. It is rooted already, and I also have a brand new leaf. I was not expecting it. I thought it would create another branch from one of the nodes, but no, the tip was still active. So she is saved. I need to remove her from the moss because these guys can attach to the moss a whole lot, and I don't want to. I might do an experiment with this one. I don't know, we'll see. But she is okay. I managed to save it. I also filmed it, so this will be a different video, a separate video. I'm gonna follow it along its journey of becoming a fully fledged healthy plant. But this is what happened to the nummularioides. Almost lost it, but I didn't. All right, do you guys remember the sketchy pots? I love the sketchy pots. If you didn't see the video, check it out. It's quite funny. And the Hoyas love the pots. Look at that. So this is the Krimson Princess that I was telling you about. Do we see? It doesn't really look like the tricolor. It looks a little bit here, but then the variegation starts to just become very inconsistent, but beautiful nonetheless. I really like it. So I don't know what to say. I don't know if they're the same thing. This is one that you can find in flower shops in my area, in the European Union at least, very, very easily. It is not all that expensive either. It can revert. I have one shoot that is completely green there, but that's okay. Next to it, it's one that one of you guys told me the name of and I forgot. I didn't put a tag, but I'll put it on the screen because I'll go back in the comments. Look at her. She is growing. And I thought this is the type of Hoya that has pretty flimsy stems and it would just become pendant. Yeah, look at that. So given the opportunity, she might actually want to climb. Will I let her climb? I don't think so. I think she's going to have to just do this like the older stems, but we're going to see if she wants to do that. What's funny is that she's growing inward. The light is coming from that direction. The lights that I have on the ceiling, I just put them on for filming purposes. I don't have them on all the time. So why are you heading towards the inside of the grow room, little Hoya? Don't you? Oh, maybe she doesn't like too much light. I never thought of that. So she would have to grow towards the light if she wanted to reach towards the light, right? If she needed more light. Maybe they grow away from the light. I don't know. This one as well. Do we see it's growing inward? That is interesting, isn't it? I've always kind of had Hoyas reaching for the light. Maybe I was not providing enough light. This is my southern side. It is the brightest side of the grow room. Maybe it's too bright for them. They will not get burned. Don't worry. They can't get burned. But yeah, this is very interesting. I'm just observing this. And lastly, the multiflora. I said I would repot it, but there's no point. All I'm gonna do is this, put it in a new pot, and that's it. Put some soil around it. No big deal. I don't think it's worth filming that. But what I wanted to show you with this one, it is a different Hoya. It is one that grows upright and it can become slightly taller than this, but it will not climb. What it does do often though, as far as I read, is create peduncles in bloom. And I have 2 of them which didn't dry up. The older ones did dry up, but it's okay. And these are the first set of leaves it put on here. They were already a little bit grown, but obviously she didn't have good conditions. Look at the newest leaves. They are so pretty. It has been growing under the Barinas. She loves the Barinas. So I will probably continue to grow her under grow lights because she really likes it. And yeah, she looks absolutely amazing. And since it is a very frequent bloomer, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. We're gonna make a video when she is in full bloom. But yeah, she's doing great. All of them are doing okay. Did I actually lose any of them? I don't remember. I need to go back. Maybe one. I remember there was one, but I might confuse it with the nummularioides. I'm not sure. So everybody's doing okay. They're growing very nice. And I'm really happy to own them. We'll see how we do with the space. Some I had an idea, you guys. I might do it. So I want to find a sort of a trellis or maybe a big branch to put behind my aquarium or above it. And I want to have the Hoya just swirl and grow on that little trellis. There is a lot of light around the aquarium and some of these guys really don't need all that much light. So it might look nice. I'm gonna try, I'm gonna experiment it. I have another experiment in mind with the 3D ping system, self-watering system. So yeah, really excited about the Hoyas. They are quite big, not sure how we'll do with the space, but we're gonna see. And that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this little Hoya update, Hoya tour. I don't have many of them. I'm probably never gonna have super many of them, although I like them, because I need to be mindful with my space. And right now, orchids occupy the entire heart and space. So with Hoyas, probably we're not gonna have a whole lot of them, but I do still wanna have a few more that I really like. I see on the internet and I really like. Anyway, so that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. If you wanna follow me on social media, search for me. I'm at MissOrchidGirl pretty much everywhere. Check out my shorts channel for shorter form content. But most importantly, do subscribe to this channel because this is where I post all the good stuff. So that's it. I'll see you all next time. Bye.